and welcome to Sports This Morning. I'm Cecilia Omogbe, coming up on the program this morning. All right, it's all about Bayelsa Queens. They maintain top of the league in the Nigeria Women's Football League Premiership. They were able to get a resounding victory, 3-1 the one at home. And of course, for Rivers Angels winning their first game in 3 matches, they remain third. And for Bayelsa Queens, they've opened a 6-point lead at the top of the table, just maintaining that run. They've lost just once this season. Also on the program, we move over to Germany. What's happening right there? They were stunned at home by, well, North Macedonia. When you mention football countries, I believe North Macedonia is not a country that would definitely come to mind. But then they were able to beat former world champions Germany 2-1 in their own home. So emotional moment for the Germans. And of course, Milwaukee Bucks and the Lakers are top of the big game last night in the NBA. It was all about Milwaukee Bucks. The brothers, Giannis Antetokounmpo's brothers, they were all in action. 1 for the Lakers and 2 for the Bucks. The Bucks had to snap their 3-game losing run. Lakers now, well, they won 2 and they're losing again. And we're starting up with the NBA this morning. Of course, result that went down just last night and early hours of this morning. And much later in the program, we'll be talking about Basketball League Africa. What's happening right there? The president will be joining me on the show. But quickly, we'll just take a look at results coming from the NBA. Starting with the Blazers and Detroit Pistons, it was 124 and 101. Damian Lillard, of course, was one of the guys who put them running in that one. Other game was the Heat and the Pacers. The game between the Miami Heat and the Pacers. We only have about 3 Nigerians were in action in that game. Bam Adebayo dropped 60 points. He had 35 minutes on court, but he was able to drop just 16 points. And Precious Achiuwa had 8 minutes, and inside that 8 minutes, he managed 2 points. And for Gabe Vincent for the Tigers, he had 17 minutes on court, but he helped with just 3 points. But the good news is that the Miami Heat were able to win 92-87 over the Indiana Pacers. And the game between the Mavericks and the Boston Celtics, it was 113 and 108. And other games on the night, the Brooklyn Nets and the Houston Rockets, 120 and 108. In that particular game, well, you say, when you have one star getting injured and leaving, others will have to step up. That was what happened in that game, having Kyrie Irving stepping up for his team in that one for them to be able to get that victory. And you have James Harden getting injured and leaving the court. But then, despite the fact that he left, they did not lose the game because Kyrie Irving had to step up with some performance for them to be able to win that game. For the Jazz and the Grizzlies, the Utah Jazz winning 111 and 107. Timberwolves and the New York Knicks, it was 102 and 101. That's a painful one, losing by 1 point. In other games of the night, you have the Thunder and the Raptors. Well, that's, when you look at that, you understand that there's something really not looking good for the Toronto Raptors. The Thunder winning 113 and 103. For the Spurs and the Sacramento Kings, 120 and 106. And the Suns and Chicago Bulls, whenever you have Devin Booker churning up some numbers, he won 121 and 111. And the Bucks and the Lakers, of course, that one. Now, let's just listen to, well, Giannis Antetokounmpo talking, about playing with his brothers before we talk more about that particular game between the Lakers and the Bucks.
No, he I don't know if he got stepped on or whatever, but it was really bothering him. Almost didn't return after halftime, gave it a run, and you can see he was limping. So we got him out to see if the doc could work on it a little bit, but wasn't able to return. We got a next man up mentality with this group, and obviously we're all excited to see Dre in a Lakers uniform, and it didn't play out as long as we wanted, but we knew we had plenty to get the job done, and we just fell short.
Yeah, that was Frank Vogel actually talking about Andre Drummond. He got injured and he had a bruised toe and he had to leave. I mean, before he left, he already dropped some points and there was just energy coming into the team. But somehow, It just wasn't to be. So you would say he didn't really make a good debut for them. They wanted him to, bring that firepower, that energy into it, but didn't happen. But I talked about Giannis earlier. Let's listen to him.
I don't know if Nas is just ruthless, man. He just went in, had to step back on his little brother. Come on, man. How can you do that to your little brother? I had the opportunity to do the same, but I didn't. But no, it's amazing, man. And it's been a long journey to be able to, three of us being the same NBA court, man. It's amazing. Our mom is right there watching, and can never ask for anything better. We representing our father in the right way. We're doing it with a smile on our face. We're trying to improve every single day, and this was always our dream. And just being able to take a moment and realize that we accomplished it, it's amazing. And we got to keep getting better. Keep working on our game, and hopefully moments like this, like tonight, can happen again.
Yeah, just playing with his brothers, three of them. Just imagine having three brothers in two different teams. I mean, the best team you have in the NBA. For Giannis Antetokounmpo playing with the Milwaukee Bucks. Of course, yeah, coach is also playing with the Lakers. They had some minutes on court, and of course, that's why Giannis is really very happy that he was able to play with his brothers. Talking about the game in question, yes, that particular game, Andre Drummond, as I mentioned earlier, actually left with bruised right toe during that game. Drew Holiday, scored 28 points for the Bucks. And, of course, Giannis, that you listened to earlier, had 25 points and 10 rebounds. And Chris Middleton added 17 points and 8 assists. So the Bucks were able to snap that 3-game losing run that they've had so far. Still, Lakers without LeBron, without AD. It was a bit tough for them. They expected Andre Drummond to come into the game and get something out of it, but it just wasn't to be because he got injured making his debut for them. All right, yeah, there was also family time, as I mentioned earlier, with Giannis and his brothers in action in that game. I mentioned earlier that we'll be talking about Basketball Africa League. It's going to tip off in Kigali in Rwanda, May 16th. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. Now, we will be having the president of Ball Africa talking to us this morning about this particular inaugural season. It was supposed to be held last year, but because of COVID-19 pandemic happened, it just wasn't to be. But this year, yes, expectations are high that this would definitely happen. And he will be joining me this morning, talking about Gallo Fall, joining me this morning to talk about this. Good morning, President. It's good to have you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm fine. I mean, we're all happy right here in Nigeria because it's finally happening. Last year, we all waited for it, but pandemic happened. It was postponed by a year. And on Monday, just about the weekend, just recently, we heard the news coming from you that, yes, it's happening May 16. Now, what is it? This particular league, how much will it help to develop African basketball?
I think we've seen an upward trend the last few years. Really, even if you look at the quality of national team plays, African basketball continues to make its mark on the global stage. This league is going to provide opportunity for the talent on our continent to be showcased right here at home. And the Basketball Africa League is positioned as an economic growth engine for the continent. And I think, really promoting and strengthening club basketball is going to be another piece that would help solidify the growth of the game on our continent.
Okay, interesting. I love that. When you were talking about it and when you were actually announced that, yes, it's been confirmed, it's going to be May 16, you mentioned that, we have a large population on the continent, 1.2 billion, and everyone is actually interested in watching basketball. And this Basketball African League is actually sponsored by the NBA. Now, how much impact will it have on those players at home who are aspiring to be at the top of their career?
I think it's extremely important for the young players and youth in general. Young boys and girls learn to emulate and aspire and have role model in front of them, and also aspirational platform that they are looking to get to. Having a professional league on the continent is certainly going to be, a realistic first option for talented young players. I think we are hopeful that we'll be able to retain some of the massive talent that the continent has, and we're no longer probably going to see talented young players going to some adventurous journeys in some countries where, quite frankly, the level of basketball is much lower than what we have in our national leagues across the continent. But because of the lack of real opportunity to, play and then develop in the right conditions, these young players are always leaving the continent. And I think this league is going to be a catalyst that will first enhance the quality of play in the domestic leagues, because let's remember, this is the Champions League model. The clubs that are participating in the Basketball Africa League are winners of their local leagues. So I think as we go on and as we continue to really build, there will be a ripple effect in all the national leagues across the continent, and countries are going to be able to retain a vast majority of their talent. And the basketball in Africa is going to benefit from it in the long run.
I love that angle, talking about helping the local leagues across Africa. Now, in terms of rewards, money and all that, we know anything that's sponsored by the NBA, of course, there will be money in it. How much will these clubs benefit from it? Because Nigeria, for example, we haven't had a league for like 3 years now, some issues and all that. Hopefully, maybe this year, everything will be resolved and then we start having a league. Now, some of these players who will be playing at that high level that don't have opportunity to play in their own local league, of course, they want to rely on, the Basketball Africa League to be able to make ends meet.
Well, first of all, I want to just stress that the Basketball Africa League is a partnership between the NBA and FIBA. And yes, we are going to create a professional elite level where African players could come and showcase their talent, but also this is going to be a platform for coaching and coaches to develop. Working with FIBA, we've already started some referee trainings program that's been running for a year now. During the hiatus, when we were forced to pause on the launch of the league, we used that time to really build capacity, with our BAL team and working with all the federations to develop the game holistically. This is about growing the entire ecosystem. Yes, the players on the court are going to be the key, because we want to have a product that is going to be attractive to fans of all ages, but we want to professionalize the entire landscape, from coaching to referees, table officials, and the league is going to attract, talent off the court in terms of people who are going to market the game, broadcast operations, because our games are going to be broadcasted to a wide Pan-African audience and a global audience. We want an environment where definitely all the players taking place, participating for clubs, will be professional, because they will be remunerated for their talent. I cannot talk about numbers, but we support the clubs, we support the teams during the time that they are with the Basketball Africa League to make sure they have resources to attract, good talent, because at the end of the day, it is going to be about the quality of the games that will be played that is going to determine the success, and also everything that is going to happen around the league. So I have no doubt that, look, Nigeria is a very important country and has always been. I mean, you've seen what happened in this last draft with 9 players from Nigeria, from Nigerian origin being drafted. I mean, I heard you a little while ago talking about the Miami Heat with 6 players from Nigeria. So certainly, this is a country that, is going to sort out, the issues in terms of getting that local league back up and running. I think is extremely important. So yes, we're looking forward to tipping off on May 16, and looking forward to seeing the Rivers Hoopers there that will be representing Nigeria in the inaugural season of the Basketball Africa League.
We are all obviously looking forward to it. Now, before I let you go, finally, we know that we're starting with 12 teams. Are there plans to actually increase it as it goes, or we're just sticking with that, knowing that, it's a zonal thing? Maybe with time we can have maybe 2 clubs from a particular country. Is that going to be possible after this edition?
Well, look, our goal is long term. We're really committed to this league, and I have no doubt that in the next years to come, in 5-10 years, this league is going to be one of the top professional basketball league in the world. There is huge appetite across the continent. If we wanted to start with 24 teams today, we could have started with 24 teams. But I think we just want to be very strategic and methodical in our approach. Let's start with 12. I think it's a good number to really create a very competitive environment. But I have no doubt that over time, we will be opening up to more teams and from more countries.
Thank you so much for joining me this morning to talk about Basketball Africa League.
My pleasure. Thank you, and best of luck to you, and hope to see you guys, along down the road in some Basketball Africa League games and events.
Yeah, we just can't wait for that, just knowing that Rivers Hoopers will be taking part in that. Okay. Now, that's it for Basketball Africa League. Now, quickly, I was going to talk about the top performance coming from, players in the NBA, some players who put up some numbers. If we have that, we can quickly just run through it before we go on the break. Yes, Damian Lillard, mentioned him earlier, what he did with the Portland Trail Blazers for them to be able to beat the Detroit Pistons 124 and 101. He had 33, 4, and 10. Luka Doncic for the Dallas Mavericks, of course. This guy is, Devin Booker, yeah, that's the guy. Talked about 45, 4, and 4. Whenever Devin Booker is on, the Phoenix Suns will scourge their opponents. And, of course, the next player, Ja Morant for the Memphis Grizzlies, 36, 2, and 7. And, of course, the next player, Kyrie Irving, yes, 31, 6, and 12. He had to step up when James Harden, got injured and he left the court. They were even losing to the Houston Rockets. I thought they were going to lose that game, but somehow, when you have a big guy like that, he stepped up. And they won. Luka Doncic for the Dallas Mavericks, 36, 8, and 5 he got for his team. Okay, that's it for the NBA. And of course, quickly before we go on a break for halftime, just talk about the National Handball Championship. It went down yesterday at Rowe Park. And of course, we have a new champion. We'll take a look at the result and, of course, what went down and how most of these players were able to put on the very best before they could get to be champions of the league. Okay, there you have the result. All right, we'll just run through the result before the break. You have the under-18 girls, a final result. Boko Volunteers and Bayelsa, it was 18-8. And for the under-18 boys, the final result. You have Lagos, of course, winning that over the Kings. We know they were always going to do that for Shuleja Shooters. And Lagos, yes, Lagos team also winning the under-21 girls. And, of course, Lagos again winning the under-21 boys, beating Niger 37-33. Yes, Lagos team were actually the team to beat. And they went on and they did not disappoint any. Just take a look at the result and see what they did on the final day. Under-18 boys, they won it. Under-21 boys and girls, they won it. And, of course, it was only Bayelsa who beat them up to that under-18 girls because they didn't get to the finals. I believe the Lagos had got into the finals. Just maybe they would have won it. So handball is thriving in Lagos. It's not just football alone, no basketball alone, but handball is also thriving. When we come back from this break, we'll just take a look at other results and, of course, how it all went down in handball. Welcome back. Let's listen to the winners on the day talking about the handball championships.
The reason why we keep organizing underage competition is because it is the factory of the Handball Federation of Nigeria. That is where we produce players. That is where we discover young talent. That is where we discover upcoming players and so. And if we must keep feeding the senior national team with talent, then the underage competitions must happen. With the underage competitions, you find out that a lot of people will go back to work, they will go to villages to raise teams, they'll go to local government to raise teams, and when they come here, you begin to see different talents coming out from nowhere. And I already see some national team materials of the future among those young ladies. So we'll keep on organizing the underage championship because we want to develop handball in Nigeria. Our mission is to go back to the grassroots, to begin to select players, to begin to pick players so that we can begin to feed our senior national teams with talents. We have a mission, we have a vision, we are focused on doing what we want to do. I mean, if you go back memory lane, since we came on board, we've been organizing this championship. So for me, it's not about elections. Yeah, there's federation elections this year. I'll keep running my program until the last day I stay in office.
Okay, that's the president of Handball Federation in Nigeria, Asam Ocheo, talking about the reason why this was organized and development, and also what he has seen, the talent that abounds in Lagos and, of course, across the country when we talk about handball. We'll leave that and quickly talk about the National Sport Festival. Yes, the states are preparing, even FCT. But for Edo State, the host state, the players, the athletes, all of them, the wrestlers, they're all thinking, look, we are hosting, but then we're going to win this. And the deputy governor, that's the LOC chairperson, Phyllis Schreiber, is all still hoping and counting on the federal government to release the funds that they can be able to host. Remember, on Friday, that's when athletes will start arriving camp. And, of course, on Tuesday, that's when the opening ceremony will be. And, of course, when that happens, then the games will definitely begin.
These combat sports athletes in Anambra State are sweating it out at the indoor hall of the Dr. Alex Ekweme Square, Noka, ahead of the National Sports Festival. Anambra State finished 16th on the overall medal table at the last sports festival held in Abuja, but it's not leaving anything to chance to improve their rating in Benin City.
As of 2018, Anambra State, record was nothing to write home about. In a 20-year record where you could just find only maybe one gold medal or silver medal. But in 2018 at Abuja, we broke out of that, old record, and we came back with about 27 medals, which includes 5 gold medals. You understand? Out of that 5 gold medals, 2 of our, key athletes here, a former warrior and Rosemary, they collected gold medal in wrestling. You understand? And they are training hard here to ensure that they maintain that record. Okay? So in terms of record, we have been progressing.
In spite of their physical challenges, para-badminton athletes in Abia State attempt to brave the odds to gain honors as they attend trainings in tricycles. The state government says due to lack of training facilities, some of the athletes are assigned to train in neighboring states to enhance their chances at a competition.
Our athletes are in different areas training because most of the facilities here cannot accommodate the type of training they do. So we have organized it in a way that some of them are training outside the state just to achieve the same goal. Weightlifters are training here, powerlifters are training here, badminton, and athletics, of course. Table tennis is training in Aba, precisely Aba Sports Club, where we have enormous facilities for their training. And every other thing, we are set for the festival.
Imo State confirms it will present 200 athletes in 21 sports, which include boxing, judo, para-table tennis, badminton, which are its strongest points at the previous editions. As preparations for the championships gather momentum, athletes in the Southeast are hopeful of competing among the best in the country.
Anambra State, obviously, they're not left out of it because they want to win medals as well, to compete with the very best. And when you're talking about the best, you're talking about states like Edo, Delta. Of course, River State, they're not left out. These are some of the states that everyone would definitely want to beat because of the pool of talents that they have. I haven't mentioned Lagos because I know Lagos happens to be, well, should I say in a class of its own? That's something like that, because when it comes to pool of talent, They're right here in Lagos. But for Edo athletes, how are they ready? How are they preparing? I'm talking about the money coming in and all. They're still hopeful that, yes, the money will come. And whatever happens, they're really ready to host.
The ping pong ball goes back and forth with intensity. Team Edo special table tennis players perfects their strategies ahead of the 20th National Sports Festival, which is on home territory. Blessing Agu is one of the medal hopefuls. The voice is barely above a whisper. His expectations are high enough.
The people in my category, I believe I can defeat them because I've been defeating them. Even 2002, I win 1 gold to bronze. 2004, I win 2 gold. Then 2006, I win 1 gold to bronze. So I believe I can stick to it.
From table tennis to badminton, Team Edo is brimming with confidence.
At Lagos 2012 National Sports Festival, I also won bronze. Then at Valojet, that is International Championship, and 2019, I also won goods too.
I think I won in the last National Open Championship in Lagos. I came runner-up 2nd position. Won the silver medal in singles, and in doubles, I came 1st.
Wrestling is one of the traditional sports at the festival. Again, Team Edo believes that the squad has what it takes to be among the medals.
In Greco-Roman, I think we have 85% chances in the Greco-Roman, and the freestyle is same. We have many champions here, like our female wrestler, even she's at camp now at Bayelsa, Blexi Onyebushi. She's a Commonwealth champion, world champion. By His grace, she will be here too. Then you have Arasafa, you have Simeon, so they are champions in they are national athletes.
The next generation is not left out. These young gymnasts are positive about their chances at the Unity Games.
18th Beno is the current champion and will definitely remain the champion of floor events.
The mood is bright for the athletes as the countdown continues towards Edo 2020. Paucity of funds, however, remains the only source of concern. The hosts, the Edo State government, had explained that it needed extra funds to compensate for the series of postponements to the Unity Games. The chairman of the local organizing committee, Mr. Philip Shaibu, is certain that the federal government will deliver on its promises.
This time, because of the commitment, which is completely different from previous commitment that we've received, because we now believe that truly will be funded, you can see that the competition equipment are already been unveiled. We are installing all the competition equipment that have been in their caravan for over a year.
The 20th edition of the National Sports Festival has been billed for April 2 to April 14. The Edo State government insists that the date will be sacrosanct.
For those of you that are actually thinking that maybe the sports festival will be postponed, well, that date, it's going to happen. So second athletes will start moving to camp, and on the 6th, the opening ceremony. It's happening in Edo State. Finally, the National Sport Festival. Be sure that it's going to happen. Nothing contrary to that at all. FCT, I mentioned them earlier. They're also preparing for the National Sport Festival. They hosted the last one. And of course, you don't have so many athletes or winners coming from the state's capital. But we know this time around, well, Abuja athletes are ready to also redeem their image.
These are some of the athletes expected to represent the Federal Capital Territory at this year's National Sports Festival. The athletes are concluding their preparations as the game kicks off in a matter of days. From athletics to boxing, football and gymnastics, the FCT Director of Sports insists they are ready for the games.
FCT contingent had been in camp for nearly 2 weeks now, and the camping exercise has been an extensive one with all the coaches and sport managers who are mentally alert and prepared and are doing the best they could in equipping the athletes.
For the coaches, the epileptic nature of the festival will not have any effect on their performance.
Our preparation is on the top tier. And, as we are here in the camp, all our children, we have to work them out and then make sure there's a good result, and which I hope by God's grace, with all the things we've imparted in them, there's going to be good results.
Our spirit is very high because we just have some few days to go. And if not for the postponement that has been occurring in the sport festival, we'll have at least been more prepared than this. But since the information gets to us that it will hold and the arriving there will be from second and third, and fourth the festival proper will come out. We've been training even after the postponement severally. We've been training. We did not relent on our training, so we are very, very good to go.
We are preparing for the festival right from March last year. We have been preparing for the festival, although the festival have suffered a lot of postponement, but that is notwithstanding. Our athletes are informed. We are intact. Waiting anytime the festival is ready, we are ready for the festival.
The FCT will be participating in 27 sports, and the team is confident of winning more medals.
We are defending champion, and we are hoping to go to Edo to go and defend the gold we won 2 years ago.
We have been preparing for a long time now, and now by His grace of God, we know we are fully prepared, and we are going and coming back with a victory and a smile on our face.
I think in the last National Sport Festival, if I'm to talk wholly for the team, we came 7th overall. So our aim for Edo 2020, tagged Edo 2020, is to come the best overall.
The FCT hosted the 2018 Sports Festival and finished 7th on the medals table with 21 gold, 9 silver and 24 bronze medals. This is what the present athletes are hoping to surpass in Benin, Edo State.
"27 sports. We'll see what FCT will bring to the party. All right, I've been doing the show all alone, right? Austin is going to join me from London this morning. Of course, Yemi Olus will also be joining me. When Yemi Olus, anytime she's on the show, you know that it's time to talk about track and field. What happened with MOC Grand Prix, Olympic qualifying tournament. Day one was a huge one because you had 3 athletes qualify for the Olympics, or 2, because you have Grace Nwankocha qualifying for the Olympics. And of course, Kenya, a guy from Kenya, Ferdinand Omoyale, also breaking national record, not in Kenya, I'm talking about the 100 meters, and also qualifying for the Olympics right here in Lagos. And day 2 was awesome. Mike Edwards coming back after Abuja when he came for the National Sport Festival, also Asaba 2018. Then you also have, the lady everyone has been talking about, Inse. She was at the last sports festival, and she's also, just blazing the train all through. Yemi Olus will join me this morning. Yemi, good morning. It's good to have you. Austin Okonakma, good morning. It's good to have you guys.
Yemi, it's
good morning, Cecilia. Thanks for having me.
Good morning, Cecilia. Good to be on the show.
Great one. Okay, you know what? It's
good
ladies
morning,
first.
Good morning, Yemi.
So I'm going to start with Yemi first. Yemi, it was a good day on Tuesday, right? It was a good day on Wednesday. And of course, the Grand Prix is over. Now, just take us through those guys who broke the record. Let me start with the lady of the moment, Grace Nwankocha. Everyone is talking about her. She's been around for a while. But this, 100 meters, winning it, I didn't expect that to happen. At the time, world lead 11.09.
No, Cecilia, we had 2 intense days of competition at the third MOC Grand Prix. It was really awesome. And in fact, one thing I just noticed from this competition is the fact that everybody loves to see good times. Yes. Once athletes run good times, you see the place, there's a roar, everybody's shouting, everybody's going crazy. By the time, the electronic device just shows you the time that has been run. Grace was fantastic. Grace has been very consistent, from last year. Actually, at the last national trials, 2019, she finished second to Joy. She won the silver medal at the 2019 national championships. And then since last year, she's been on a roll. She's constantly improved on her times, 11.6, 11.5, 11.4, 11.3. In Akure, about 2 weeks ago, she did an 11.2. So we already knew that coming to the MOC Grand Prix, she was most likely going to do an 11.1. And that was just what happened. She ran 11.09 seconds to qualify for the Olympics. The Olympic entry standard is 11.15, 11.15 seconds. And she did 11.09. And she was so excited by the time she looked at the timer and saw what she had run. Grace has been consistent, and she's actually looking forward to qualifying for the 200 as well. She's already done the. She stands a good chance of qualifying for the 200 as well.
I hope she will be able to achieve that, because to be interesting to have her running the 200 meters and, of course, 100 meters at the Olympics for the very first time. Now, let's talk about another record that was also, made on day one. We're still sticking with day one now, talking about the guy from Kenya. I mean, when he arrived, there was a lot of buzz around him and all that, and he just didn't disappoint. At that time...
Like Ferdinand, before he competed, he had already been saying he was going to give a very good show, at the MOC Grand Prix, and he had run about 10.14 seconds earlier this year, but it was wind aided, so it wasn't a legal time. But he had already planned. He really wanted to qualify for the Olympics at the MOC Grand Prix, and he had been so confident. He just kept on saying, "I'm going to run fast. I'm going to run fast." So where is this confidence coming from? And for him, he was trying to just show that, okay, people always feel like Kenyans only focus on long distance. But that now is the time when people should also begin to see Kenya in the sprints as well. So he had a point to prove, that Kenya is also becoming a sprinting nation. And then he came to Nigeria, came for the Bet King MOC Grand Prix, and then won the 100 meters title. And in fact, the Olympic qualifying time he ran, 10:01 seconds, was even in the heat. It was not even in the final. It was in his heat. His first race, at the Grand Prix, he ran 10.01 seconds. And it was something he said that an athlete should just make the most of every opportunity you have. Sometimes athletes are saving their best. Like, okay, I'll run the best in the final. Let me just, but you need to take your chances sometimes. And because by the time they ran the final, clocked 10.05 seconds in the final, but it was wind aided. So it could not have been, a legal time. So, for example, Enoch was second. Both Ferdinand and Enoch ran 10.05 seconds, but it was wind aided. So for Enoch, it would have been a qualifier, because the entry mark, the Olympic qualifying time, is 10.05 seconds. So that was what they ran, but it was wind aided. So he had already run 10:01 in the heat. So he already got the qualification.
Okay, let's wrap this up in 30 seconds if we can quickly. Mike Edwards, it was highlights of day 3. Everyone was waiting for him. When I heard that was coming, I said, okay, I know the crowd will be massive. He did not disappoint, getting a good time also on the day.
I was just hoping that he will be able to focus, because by the time the Yaba Tech students saw Mike, even though they were not in the...
Okay. We're losing Yemi right now. Okay, even though the athletes, the fans were directly not, on the field where the race was taking place, because COVID-19, they had to ensure that not everyone is around. But then somehow Mike Edwards was able to get that high jump, and he won, getting his personal best from there. We'll go on a break. We've lost Yemi. I'm sorry we can't continue with her. But Austin will be joining me after this break. Austin, okay, you listen to Yemi talking about what happened at the MOC Grand Prix Olympic qualifying tournament and all that. Some athletes having opportunity to qualify for the Olympics. There's actually another lady that caught my attention, Nse Unko. I remember when you were at the Abuja, the last sport festival. Remember her? A young girl, but this summer she was able to qualify for the World Junior Championship, which is a great one. She won her own race yesterday, the 400 meters. But this girl, she's just rising and keep rising and keep rising. Hopes for her the National Sport Festival this time around, right?
That's what it is, Cecilia. That's progress. And that's why we must say kudos to Bambo Akani and his team at Making of Champions for putting together this event. Because if we do not have events, we cannot be talking about this talent, Cecilia. For instance, we talked last about the young talent from the National Sports Festival in Abuja. Now we're talking about and qualifying for the World Youth Championship is nothing but progress. It's also a reminder that we must keep the process going. Fantastic run from Grace Wokocha. And again, And again, if this event did not happen, we won't be talking about Grace. We will not see an opportunity to see Omanyala from Kenya running 10.01. And Cecilia, that's a clear reminder to us that other African countries are working. We probably won't get to the level, maybe we would get to the level that Kenya has gotten with the long distance races, but they are already closing up with the sprints. And that tells us that we need to do more. I love the fact that Mike Edwards, came back, did his thing. But then again, for me, it's about the process. What are we doing to keep the process going? And I don't know. It's looking like we might just lose the respect we had in Africa. In fact, now it's not about the world anymore. In Africa, with the track and field, if we do not find a way to keep the process going, particularly with talent identification and nurturing, because Cecilia, other African countries, they are coming, and they are coming so fast. They will catch up and overtake.
Yeah, they're coming. We'll just wait and see. Sport Festival is around the corner. Maybe at the Sport Festival, we have more talent to be able to monitor that. And AFN be able to put their house in order and organize more, championship, more Grand Prix for the athletes, so that Nigeria will just be where they're supposed to be when it comes to track and field in the country and also in the world. We leave that quickly and go to the Nigerian Women's Football League games decided both in Lagos and across the country. Bayelsa Queens maintain their lead. It's like they don't just want to let it slip, because they won their game convincingly against, of course, Dreamstar Ladies. Dreamstar Ladies, at least, they didn't go without at least getting the consolation going, ended 3-1. But then Bayelsa maintaining that top spot, still 6 points, ahead of Rivers Angels, who were second, actually chasing them. But right now, Bayelsa Queens just seems to be in a class of their own. Robo Queens and, of course, Sunshine Stars, was Monday Gift scoring that goal for them to beat Sunshine Queens 1-0. Nasarawa Amazons and Rivers Angels. Rivers Angels won away from home. That 3-game ski they've had, they finally snap it. Bayelsa Queens, of course, Dream Stars, talked about that earlier. Confluence Queens and Royal Queens at 2-1. Confluence Queens winning that. Edo Queens and Oshun was just a lone goal. Elizabeth got them that goal. That was the last game they were played on the day. The game between Abia Angels and Imbom Angels was Abia, who won by lone goal. And Delta Queens and Pelican Stars, it was 1-0 in favor of the home team. We saw just one away win from Rivers Angels, who needed to break that. How can Rivers Angels go 3 games without winning? But they went to Lafayette. Nasarawa Amazons just couldn't, do anything about that. And Rivers Angels ran away with all of them. Quickly, Austin, Nigerian Women's League is getting tougher and tougher. Match day 12. But Bayelsa Queens seems to just be the team that are running away with everything.
Unstoppable. They are unstoppable, Cecilia. I was taking a look after yesterday's results. I had to go back from, I think, from week 1 and saw that Bayelsa Queens, they've been consistent. Remember their first game, I think, against Nasarawa Amazons or Confluence Queens. They won that one away. And I think they've won a couple of games, about 3 away from home. So that tells you why they're on top of the league table with 31 points. The only team that really needed to win on week 12 was Rivers Angels, and they did. And that's some character. And going to Lafayette to get that one tells you that they really want to win, because up next for Rivers Angels is Bayelsa Queens. So if they beat Bayelsa Queens on week 13, then we've got a league title. We've got a league race on our hands. But if Bayelsa Queens wins that one in Port Harcourt, then we should just crown them champions, because they have shown all the consistency that they need to show and prove that they want to win the league title. Edo Queens also needed to win, and they won, which is why they'll be kicking themselves why they didn't win on week 11. But hey, that's football for you. And this is a league of queens, angels, and babes. So when the result comes, we'll take it the way it comes. But yes, I agree with you. It's been competitive.
It's very, very competitive. We leave the Women's League now and quickly go to Europe. Austin, anytime you talk about football, it's so unpredictable. You just look at results, you'll be like, what happened? North Macedonia. I'm like, how many people even know that country exists? But right now, if you don't know the name, you know. Because what happened to the Germans on the day, it wasn't what we expected. Star-studded team, it wasn't as if it was a string, maybe third. Even the Germans, even if Coach Joachim Löw will have to use his third worst team, I never expected that North Macedonia Okay, you know what, before you react to that, quickly take a look at all of the results. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. How the Germans lost that game, 85th minute, when Elmas got that victory, when he got that goal. Starting with Greece and Georgia, ended 1-0. Spain and Kosovo, 3-1. Lithuania and Italy winning by 2-0. France managed to beat Bosnia and Herzegovina by a lone goal. Ukraine and Kazakhstan, 1-1 ended. For Denmark and Austria, Denmark winning 4-0. Israel beating Moldova 4-1. Scotland and Faroe Island 4-0. And Andorra and Hungary, it was 4-1. England, Poland, Harry Maguire got them that late goal for them to be able to beat Poland, who didn't have Lewandowski around, 2-1. Armenia and Romania. Armenia actually topping a group where you have the Germans. They have Germany, of course, North Macedonia, 2-1. And Liechtenstein and Iceland, 4-1 it ended. Austin, Germany, what happened to them on the night? I can't believe it.
Football, Cecilia.
Yeah.
Football happens to Germany. You know, each time I talk about football, and the last time I was on Sports Tonight, I was arguing with Alfred and some of the guys that it is coming to Africa thick and fast. And hey, before someone starts talking, that was right there in Germany. Macedonia beating Germany 2-1. You know, I've looked at football over and over and over again. The moment you try to act like you know it, or you show a little bit of complacency, or you go there with some level of confidence, you get stunned. And that's what it is. The fact that a smaller team is coming to play a big team is enough motivation for the smaller team, because they know that's oddity if they get to win. I think that's what Macedonia took to Germany and said, look, we can make history. We can confirm our place as a footballing country, you know. So I'm not surprised. You know, Cecilia, you guys know me. I've been the guy with, you know, oddity when I report sports. So I want to see that news that is not usual. So when this happened, I called some of my friends and I told them, you know, when I said this to somebody, they're like, oh, if it happens, it's luck. It's not luck. They prepared. Every person that gets into a competition is getting into the competition to win. You might be better, but they were getting into the competition to win. And fantastic result for North Macedonia. It will go down in history. Sadly, it happened to Joachim Löw. He's a fantastic coach. He's got a good team, but football stunned them.
Yeah, Austin, we got to go. Thank you so much for joining me again this morning.
Always a delight, Cecilia. Thank you so much. Shout out to all our viewers in every part of the world. We love them so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Quickly, before I look at the papers, if I see half time, okay, I'll just take one tweet, just one. Noble Flyerman says, the National Sport Festival will kick off this time. Hopefully, we can get new kids on the block for Tokyo 2021. I'm as stunted as every German with the result last night. That shows no more minnows in football. And good morning. Thank you. All right, Sporting Life. That's one of the papers I'll be reviewing this morning. Sporting Life here, the big, what you have here, Tyson Fury looks in supreme condition ahead of the, of course, £200 million summer showdown with Joshua. And 24 hours after African Ticket, a lot of stories here, front page of Sporting Life. And the next one, Complete Sport here, Osimhen, I will forever cherish playing in Lagos. Of course, that's where you become the highest goal scorer in AFCON qualifiers, just equaling some record by Ike. And of course, Odin Igalo and Leicester hail senior man Kelechi Iheanacho and Ndidi for their impressive performance against Lesotho. And Tony S. Leicester player says Iheanacho has been outstanding. Of course, he was outstanding also. Sporting Sun is the last one. Unsu set AFCON target for Kenneth Rowe. He said Nigeria coach must win Nations Cup. What happened if he doesn't win? That's Sporting Sun. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Do have a great day.